Hi, I'm Ji-yong Kim. I'm on the cinematography podcast.
The following podcast contains explicit language. You're listening to the Cinematography Podcast presented by Hot Rod Cameras, a program about the art, craft, and philosophy of the moving image and the people who make it happen. Coming to you from the world headquarters of Hot Rod Cameras in Hollywood, California, are your hosts, Ben Rock and Ilya Friedman.
Hey, Ilya, it's a bonus episode.
It is a bonus episode. We're delighted to host Kim Ji-yong, who is a cinematographer from the hit Netflix series Squid Game. Squid Game season 2.
International phenomenon, Squid Game. Holy crap.
It is an international phenomenon. And we have a delightful conversation about the show and about his work. And we're going to get right into that right now.
The Cinematography Podcast interview.
I'm joined now by Ji-yong Kim, the cinematographer of season 2 of Squid Game. Welcome to the Cinematography Podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hey, are you in? Nice to meet you too. Welcome to the show. Are you in Seoul by any chance right now?
I'm in Central City, Los Angeles, promoting.
You're in Los Angeles.
Yes, in my hotel room.
That's great. This time yesterday, I was in Seoul, so I thought maybe it would have been funny if we could have met up and we'd done it in person. But you're in Los Angeles, so yeah, I was in Seoul. I went for the Koba show a week ago, and I just flew back, so I had an incredible time. But I'm glad that you and I are now getting a chance to meet. Hey, I love Squid Game. Squid Game. For me, when I saw season 1 and season 2, it was kind of like a revelation. It is not like other television, and it's not surprising to me why it's become such a worldwide hit. It is simultaneously reflective of, I want to say, an unease that I think that people all over the world are feeling at this point of time. And it taps into primal feelings about horror and drama and the crushing weight of debt and all of these things of modern society. And I just love that the show is simultaneously nihilistic and also hopeful. Can you tell me what attracted you to the show? Why did you decide you wanted to get involved?
Well, actually, I was a fan of season 1. I didn't shoot the first one. The season 1. So, and I've collaborated with director on 3 features before. And we were neighbors and we were like friends. So when he called me and I was like, yeah, that would be nice. And thank you for asking me to shoot this. So I was excited to see the actual Squid Game set with my bare eye. So
yeah. It's and speaking of the sets, it's pretty incredible. I know it's a large budget show, but I know there's some computer graphics, but so much of the world feels built. It feels like all of these sets are built, and you have hundreds of people, hundreds of actors, all in these spaces together. I assume you must be covering it with lots of cameras. What is the logistics of figuring out some of these gigantic scenes, like these contest scenes? How does it all work?
Actually, except for the first game, which is red light, green light, because background has to be like VFX composited. But game 2 and 3 and other sets, they were mostly like 98% practical. So it was just huge build. Yeah, when we have 2 cameras, A and B, but mostly when we like play games, and I want the camera's position to be like as close to the actors as possible. Like the camera is like one of the players. So when I'm that close to what's happening, that I couldn't really use 2 cameras. So many game sequences were shot on single cameras.
Oh, wow. Okay. And there's so much going on. So I feel like, there's a lot of complexity in these scenes. So to cover them, these are, I got to imagine that it's many, many days to get through these sequences. What's the schedule like for an episode? How many days to make an episode of Squid Game?
I guess average was like 15 days.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes 12, sometimes 15. I can't really remember, but maybe average was 15 or a little less.
That's still pretty brisk because it's an hour of television. It's an hour of stuff. It's and each one feels like a feature. Like even getting into the season 2, that first episode, which is like all about the recruiter and ends in this game of Russian roulette. I mean, there's also it's so complex, and there's all these scenes going on in the subway. And can you talk a little bit about just breaking down this project and how I mean, it's a massive undertaking, especially to only do, I imagine, with mostly one camera or two cameras then.
Yeah, 2 cameras were used when, like, especially in that, like, mass bedroom where, like, group of people, like, have this conversation when, like, 5, 6 people. I mean, that's when we used that multiple cameras. But see, episode 1 was also pretty much shot on single camera. But for the subway sequence, we had 2 teams. That was the only time we had, like, splinter unit. So, but each unit has 1 camera. So it was single camera sequence again. And so in the first 2 episodes, I wanted to, like, compare to the latest episode, I want those to look as realistic as possible, but at the same time has to look like expressionistic when it needed. Like when they played this Russian roulette game, I want that scene to look both realistic and expressionistic. So I use this red light, which can red neon light from outside, which can be realistic. And also opposite side, I put like a cooler light to have a little more like color contrast. This idea came from this X and O signs on the dorm room. You remember that sign? It was like light, like red and blue light
coming in through the window. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the idea was from the mess dorm room. When they played this voting sequence, that was my first idea to light the voting sequence with this red and blue light. And after I designed the scene with that light, I wanted to bring this idea. I wanted to take it further. So when our main actors like facing moment of choice, moment of making decision, I wanted to bring that red and blue light every time they face that situation, like Russian roulette game and the voting sequence and the mingle games.
Yeah, there definitely is a trend with the use of color as you go through the show, and I think of like when the piggy bank is revealed for the first time, and there's this red light that just sort of like descends down. It's like very much like, you know, there's a risk reward and red kind of like all going together, and the other thing that really strikes me about your cinematography is so much of angle and perspective. A lot of lower angles looking up at people, a lot of higher angles looking down at people, lots of contrast from perspectives up and down. Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy of choosing? Because it's not always the usual sorts of thing of one person's powerful or one person's above, but you change the height and the angle so frequently. What's the idea behind the perspective of the camera placement?
I'm not sure if I had like principles when to put the camera higher or lower. But the thing is, we storyboarded whole episode, but we kind of like use it as a map, as a reference. But most like camera position came after the blocking, after rehearsal. And I just watch it and talk to the director and just try to find the best position for camera. So I don't really know how we did and why we did it that way, but it was more like intuitive.
Intuitive, yeah, for sure. Yeah, what felt right for the moment or for the scene? Yeah. Well, it's really cool, and there's such a variety of set pieces too. And I mean, I'm thinking of some of the games, and I'm sure that like just the amount of construction. Are you usually lighting inside of these constructed? Like I'm thinking of like the dormitory where everyone is sleeping. Are you lighting mostly from above from a grid? Are you constructing your lighting inside of that space? How is it architectural? How do you take on lighting these areas?
Dorm room was kind of tricky and hard because basically it's just huge room with walls, only walls, like nothing, just bright white walls. So I just had a hard time to design it, and I just try to cut off the spill to the white wall as much as I could. And also we had this like stack of bed, so I could make some like shadowy area with the shadow of the bed. So we had like little variety in the set. So sometimes I can place actors underneath the bed, or sometimes like out in the bright area. And also I designed the lightings, like when it's like white bright or kind of like warm yellow light in nighttime, and also red and blue. So I just try to make some variety because we constantly go back to that set over and over. And also I wanted to, compared to season 1, I spoke to the production designer and I asked her if we can take out most of the practicals. So we had like less practical lights because I didn't want them to be like too realistic and sourcey, because I want the light comes from basically above, but didn't want to have like actual like existence of the light. You see it later with the VFX, but didn't want to make it like so realistic. Maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of conversation, especially later, though, in that dormitory set where it really doesn't feel all top down. It doesn't feel like it's coming from above. So I guess you must have also instruments you're bringing in, or bounce, or various things. So you're lighting like intimate conversations huddled around the bunk beds, and intimate conversations where people are lurking in the corners, and so each one of those gets its own lighting treatment of some sort.
Yeah, when they're like. That decisions, like when they like had to be like moody, bring the actors to the underneath the bed, and of course it's dark, so I have to give some more illumination on their face. That's how we did. I use maybe small LEDs to bring their face up a little bit, but at the same time I didn't want them to be too flat and bright, so just positioned it maybe always sidey and a little higher, so it could make looks like still from above, but kind of like nicely. And so those dorm room scenes were lit that way, and I used some movie lights, but most of the game sequence I try not to use any movie light, because I want those main actors, they're like experienced, so they're fine with the movie lights, but we had like sometimes 400 extras.
Yes.
So I want them to feel as if they're actually playing this game. So I just pre-rig everything from above. So they didn't really see much.
Okay, so I understand. Thinking back about to the red and blue, especially like the voting sequences. You get these wonderful shots, and there's really a great variety during the voting sequences where you're on the contestant, and you're not seeing necessarily what the panel is in front of them, but then you're getting like the sound effect and either the glow of red or the glow of blue when they make their vote. I assume you've got these gags and these units so that you can, via like a DMX signal, you can trigger. So like they hit the button and then the lighting cue happens right at the same time.
Actually, the red and blue light came from the button. Button
really? Just the button?
Yeah, it was a button.
Oh, wow.
So I make sure all the like cast members just
don't block the light with their hand. That's funny, because like I thought for sure you'd be pushing that button and then it would block all the light that came from it, so you had to augment it. But
it was hard to like sync with the action, so we just made it that way.
All right, that's great. Well, it's those sequences are so dynamic too, because like the house lights dim. It all just sort of like becomes about then the voting, and so much it seems like of multiple episodes become like, you know, hey, is this going to continue? What's going to happen next? And crowds of people sort of like, you know, heavy top lighting, and then you just have the voting and people cutting through the crowds to come up, and there's a lot of drama despite no one's being shot, despite there's no like, you know, some sort of terrible nihilistic game going on. Let me ask you, did you have a favorite sequence in season 2? Was there a favorite scene or episode that you had?
Well, I really liked the Russian roulette sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the voting, like all voting scenes, because I really like this is a new thing for season 2, and I really like this idea, and like later is going further and further in story wise. So I really like this. I wanted to do some special treatment for the sequence. So that's how I come up with the idea with red and blue. So idea start with this lights on the ground, but it wasn't like bright and red and blue enough, so I had to put like light from the up top. And I was kind of like, maybe I was a little stupid that, I mean, if I put red and blue light, I thought I could divide the room with just red and blue light, but you know, it blended.
Yeah.
But I was like a little bit like surprised, but at the same time I was like, wow, this is cool. Mm-hmm. So it was happy accident. And later in the post, I made like maybe a bit left side, little bluer, right side, little redder. So there's a little more distinction. But it was a little more blended, but in the post, I made it a little more clear.
Something new for season 2 is we get to see a lot more behind the scenes. We get to see a lot more of the world of the gameskeeper and the soldiers, the guards who are, and that's a different world. It's very different from the games. It's not so red and blue. It is, of course, red jumpsuits but it's almost like there's a children's game in the United States that was very popular called Candyland. Candyland is all these vibrant colors. It feels to me like you're inside of like this like children's world almost of the pastel colors, but it's brutal. It's, you know, it's like, you know, it's. Can you tell me a little bit about your thought process of what you make the soldiers' world look like in contrast to the games?
Yes, it's quite the same as Candyland. I mean, it was like candy colors and like kind of like something. It looks cute sometimes, but
yeah,
I mean, the most brutal things happening in that area. So yeah, there was that. And I normally, I mean, I've never used this much color in my career. And also, I mean, I was not a big fan of like the RGB LED lights. I mean, ever since that RGB light just in the market, I mean, pretty much like all the like modern TV shows and movie, all of a sudden everywhere is like red and blue and purple, green lights, like all over the place. I was kind of sick and tired of it. But this was good excuse to use these colors, this show. I mean, I had like reason behind it. So it was like, I was like, since I'm doing it, I'm just going like, I go really deep down. So I used so much color here. And those are, I mean, the red and blue was light, but in that, the pink soldiers in that area was just actual color painted set and the costumes. So we really carefully just choose the color. I mean, we tested a lot with the production team, designing team, and also to get the like correct color, I did not use LUT because I just shot with just shutters like 709.
Oh, okay, interesting. So no LED. So was it gels then on lights or?
No. I mean, I used LED for the first time here. I mean, the color the LED a lot.
Okay.
Because I had like good excuse.
I'm sorry. I guess I misunderstood. Then you said you shot 709. So you shot no log, no raw. So.
I mean, I shot on. I mean, I didn't have like LUT to check.
Oh, a LUT, LUT to LUT. I understand now. So yeah, so you shot it clean then. So you knew exactly what you were going to get.
In 709, but I asked my DIT to, because new Alexa 35, there's like more compression because data is so big. So 709 got a little more contrast here than before. So black is sometimes like too inky black. So I told them just ease it a little bit and leave all the colors just as it is. So
yeah, it's I think when I'm thinking about the show, when I'm thinking back about all of the different sort of sequences and scenes too, especially episode 5. Episode 5, there's this wonderful cliffhanger. It's the carousel sort of the beginning, and then episode 6 starts right off in the game. It's like, it's this great cliffhanger. Like you don't know what's going to happen. And then it starts into this incredibly brutal, this brutal, almost like, what's the name? Musical chairs sort of game where they have to have the correct number of people in the correct rooms. And each of these rooms has like very saturated color light. And there's sort of like almost like disco party strobing sort of effects and stuff going on outside. It's a complicated sequence, but really what strikes me is how vibrant everything is. Everything feels like you could be there. You've been in a room with this sort of like color. You've been in this room with this sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit about just your approach for this very dramatic carousel sort of game?
I mean, earlier part of the game, I had to show this environment, show the set, just to audience understand the set, and later when they actually pair up and run into the room, like I mentioned before, I want the camera to be one of the players, so I ran with them basically.
It's in there. Yeah, it's in the rooms with each of them. It's right in their faces. Yeah,
and it was like unlike scenes like Russian roulette, this one was like a little bit like less rehearsed. And less precise camera move, because I mean, I wanted to embrace this like kind of jerky, not so stable framing sometimes. I mean, most of the times.
It's really dramatic. You really do feel like you're in there, and you get into the I want to say that the feeling of what's going on, and there's this contrast too of like, again, it's like almost all these games, like how there's something innocent about childhood and like being a kid and playing a game, and then something so brutal and deadly, and to see the expressions of people on these wider focal lengths with where they've resigned themselves that this is a life or death situation, and then suddenly the table stops, everything starts rotating, the lights go crazy, and they have this countdown to get into the right places. It's like it's panic and pandemonium. I don't know if anyone would act any different than any of these people, which is essentially it's all panic. It's a panic moment, and I remember very distinctly. There's this incredible sort of like tracking shot along the floor where you see the blood of previous people who've died, and then it booms up and then looks down, and you see everyone there like waiting for this to start. And then once it does start, it's the lights change and everyone runs, and it's crazy. But at the same time, the piece feels so well put together, like more or less in space where everything is. I assume this must be one of those sequences that is storyboarded really well. That's all the pieces are blocked out, so you know what you have to get. You have to get your close up on the lock turning. You have to get your close up on the countdown timer hitting 0. You have to, and then each of these rooms have like a different color too. So it's like, I guess my question is just like, how do you pull off something like this? I know you have 2 weeks to get an episode, but it's like, it's a lot. It's so much. And then you've got like angles through the doors, through the peepholes of seeing like the murder taking place. It's like there's so many things, and the control room and the split screens. And I know this is not really a question. This is me just going on and gushing about it. But it's like it's such really like it's television at the highest level. It's like it's really well put together. Tell me a little bit more about just how you construct these things.
Well, there are maybe two things I really like to tell you.
Yeah.
This overhead shot everyone likes.
Yeah.
When I preset the scene, I lit it from eye level. And I had this like stage, like moving light teams who does that professionally. So I brought them and I just changed colors like red and blue and just all the light. And I programmed it and I liked it. But overhead shot, I didn't really see it from there. So there was the first day of shoot. I pressed the camera just as high as possible and looked down and we were ready to go and just shoot. And I saw this color changing was like, from that angle for the first time, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I didn't really plan it this way. This was happy accident, but this is so cool. And it was there to use 1 or 2 shots in the beginning of the game, but director liked this so much. So he was like, why don't we just shoot this every time after each round? I mean, the beginning of each round. So that's how we end up. And also, in terms of like planning the storyboard, we had a storyboard, but like I told you, we shot all the game sequence, in order. So we know how it goes, and as we go, we know what's better to have more shots, or we don't really need this. We plan. So just as we go, we see it and we liked it, and especially that the high angle sequence. There's something really like ironic about it. It's like I was like really further away from what's happening, because normally I want, like I told you, I want like closer to the situation, but it was like really further away. But even though it's really further away, what you see is like looking through a microscope or something. So I feel really close at the same time, ironically. So I really like this shot.
I really enjoyed this whole sequence, and of course it sets up sort of like the what's getting ready for the finale of the whole show, the whole season, because like it's only 7 episodes for season 2. All right. Well, tell me what's next for you. Do you have something else lined up? I know you've got a tremendous body of work working in the Korean movie and television industry. Well, now that Squid Game is behind you, what's next in lined up for you?
I don't know if you're familiar with this Korean director Lee Chang-dong, who directed Burning, which is a brilliant film. It's a great film, and I probably shoot his next feature.
All right,
which is happening later in the year.
That's exciting. It's a very vibrant community. Basically, what I was doing in Korea last week was also visiting like rental houses and gaffers and people and stuff, and learning all about the industry there, which heretofore I had never experienced firsthand, which was very cool. Hey, I know we have a limited amount of time, and I want to make sure and give you a shout out if you've got any sort of social media or anything like that. Is there a place that people can follow you if they want to get more, follow your work and progress? Do you have a website or anything like that?
No, I'm sorry, I don't have any.
Keep it on the down low. Okay, well, hey, if you would like to see more of Ji-yong Kim's work, of course, check out Squid Game Season 2. Season 3 starts in a month from today. It's like, less than a month from now, it's going to be debuting on Netflix. It's very exciting. Ji-yong Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. I really look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to this great podcast show.
This has been the Cinematography Podcast, presented by Hot Rod Cameras. Find your next camera, lens, or accessory on the web at hotrodcameras.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on iTunes and connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.